that people will dump their dogs, their family pets, for any reason, and often, in my opinion, no reason.
Without people like Renee and other rescues, a lot of these animals wouldn't be coming out. Rescues are a vital part of what we do on a daily basis, and without them we couldn't function.
We take the dogs that have been labeled unadoptable, either because of old age or medical issues or perceived aggression issues. And we find that once we get the dogs back here, especially those dogs that have been labeled aggressive, with food, with a warm place to sleep, with loving care, most of those dogs end up being dogs that are easily adopted out to people.
This is Mia, which we've renamed Leah because we've had some dogs named Mia before. She's actually an interesting case in that she had to have a leg removed due to severe dog bite injuries. You can see she has a lot of scarring. Leah is doing wonderfully. They did a great job at Sonoma, but now we've continued with her training, and she is just a doll. She's very, very people sweet. She would make a wonderful pet to a nice, responsible home. We have Lewis and Clark. They're a couple of our latest additions that were found running on the streets of Stockton. Obviously they were in horrid conditions. We're still working on getting them back in shape. Clark is unique in that he's stone blind. He can't see a thing. So Lewis really takes care of his brother. If you watch in a minute, wherever Lewis is, Clark will show up because he smells him and he gets lost without him. They're like a seeing eye dog for the blind for each other. And Lewis here really takes care of his brother. This is Kahlua. She's a 4-year-old white boxer, and we've had her about 4 months now. Kahlua has a pretty sad story in that we believe she was used for pit bull bait fighting, as she had an owner that had picked the dog up from the animal shelter 2 times with severe injuries. The 3rd time they went to pick their animal up, the shelter refused to give it to them, and we stepped in as a rescue group. Her leg was so severely broken and crushed that it had to be amputated, but she's an absolute sweetheart. So this is Isla. She's one of our latest cases of neglect. We've had her about 3 weeks now, and she's just now getting where she's well enough to walk and handle going for walks and actually, you know, getting a personality. We almost lost her last week. Isla was a severe starvation case out of the Southern California area. She had an eye that was completely shut from a very common condition called entropion, that if fixed when they're young is very easy to fix, but she's about 3 years old and she's been living with this condition her whole life. Dolly. Dolly is one of our most recent little pitties that we just acquired, and she came from a local animal shelter. She's one of the epitomes of, you know, cruelty cases as far as pit bulls, because she's not only very young, my vet determined that she's well under a 1.5 years old, but it's obvious that she's been used for breeding her entire life. She's very adoptable. The type of rehabs we're going to have to do with her are mostly just socializing her, because she's obviously just lived a life on a chain making puppies. She doesn't have a lot of experience. You know, minus all the cliches about how everybody thinks pit bulls are mean, she's certainly the epitome of just the opposite.
Without Renee, a lot of these animals would be euthanized. And she steps up and takes a lot of the ones that are just for some reason not adoptable. People just, there's something about them that either they're too active or they're too big. You know, they come up with all kinds of reasons why they just don't want a big animal.
Come on, handsome. Come on, handsome.
rescue groups like Rots of Friends are very important to everything we do in our everyday, day-to-day basis here at UC Davis. And they definitely help supplement our classes and our labs and our programs. And like I said, they really help the students to acquire the skills they need in their future jobs and their future endeavors as veterinarians. And so they're able to not only help these animals, but it helps them and it helps the community.
My name is Vicki Fletcher, and I work in the field of animal control for Yolo County for approximately about 26 years. Rots of Friends in particular has been a benefit to our shelter because of the fact that, number one, she's very close in mileage to the shelter, but in addition to that, she's taken a good number of animals for us that other rescues won't handle just because of their size, because of their temperament, because of their additional needs for training, and she fills that special hole that is needed for shelter animals that are just kind of difficult for some other shelters.
Ones that need more work or more medical care might end up being euthanized. What Renee does is provides a place for these dogs to give them a second chance. There's a really broad range. Some of them just need behavioral modification where maybe they've been failed by owners as far as not getting the training that they need and being tagged as aggressive just because they're playful and don't have manners or things like that. That are young and otherwise healthy, all the way to the starvation cases and things like that.
Horrible mismanagement, emaciated dogs with horrible skin problems that could have been maybe a simple flea allergy, but the people were so oblivious to it that, you know, simple preventative care and whatever else could have done a lot.
Fighting that have scars and wounds all over their body. It's really, I mean, from really, really poor condition to, you know, very adoptable with just a little bit of work. So just a really broad spectrum there.
I like the fact that she takes high-risk dogs where a lot of people won't take them or they'll put them to sleep. And then I just totally admired her for seeing this dog and not walking away from it at the vet. You know, this wasn't a dog that was brought to her. She actually went talk to the people because she could see that this dog needed help.
Renee has handed me dogs before that have just come from the shelters, and so that dog, I have no idea their history and they have no idea who I am. And I'll head out on the levee, and sometimes on a cold Saturday morning the dog is just terrified of me, and I'm not real sure of the dog, but it's this transformation that happens when the dog realizes that they're not going to be harmed. They just take a deep breath and calm down, and you see this change happen. And then to be able to go through the dog obedience classes with them and help them to understand what they need to learn.
Came time to get a new Rottweiler. I did my due diligence, I did my research, and all the fingers seemed to point to a woman named Renee Lancaster out in Woodland, California. And I saw what was going on out here and became a part of it. And 20 years and 7 Rottweilers later, I'm still here and still believe in what Renee does.
We have terrific volunteers. Most of this organization is, well, all of the organization is run by volunteers, and what they do is very vital to this, to Rots of Friends.
Started training out here 18 years ago. You know, Renee was rescuing dogs, and you know, I felt such a calling as an animal lover to do something more that, you know, I sort of imposed myself on her and asked if there were things that I could do to be a part of the organization. And it started out from simply coming out and walking dogs and wiping crates and hosing runs and, you know, enduring the cold and the hot and just being available to anything, to watching it grow into an organized sort of dream of hers come true, and being involved in the website and being involved in fundraising and being involved in spreading the message and being sort of an advocate and using what I can do to help bring awareness to things that she's been silently or single-handedly doing for so long.
Right now I currently have about 6 to 8 dedicated, out here 3 to 4 days a week volunteers. Some come out more, and their main duties involve taking care of the animals. The TLC time is vital to these animals. Every animal gets brought out and walked and or playtime every day diligently twice a day. But what the volunteers do is they come and they give special attention to the dogs. That includes bathing, grooming, walking, hugging, and what you're going to see is some of the dogs playing in the yard. Each dog has special attention time based on their needs. So the volunteers are trained on the animal's behaviors and what kind of playtime they get. We have volunteers that are professionals in a lot of different ways in their regular lives. Some of them are retired. Some of them come out and have really specialized things they can do for us, such as photo taking. When the animals come in and get out of the trucks from the animal shelters or wherever they come from, they immediately get bathed. So they get washed by the volunteers, and then they get beautified, and we put a bandana on them and take photos to get them ready to put them up on the website. And that's all very important in how the animal is presented, so people will want to come meet them. All the things that these volunteers do gives me a chance to evaluate these animals, because then when they're having their feet and their mouths and their bodies hugged, it gives us an indication of what kind of temperaments these animals have, and it's very important in their rehabilitation.
And I always felt that dogs, especially the bully breeds, the Rottweilers, the Pitties, they get a really bad rap, and a lot of them don't get a chance. They just, once they're no longer puppies, they end up at the pound and they get put down. And all they need is a little understanding and training and some time. And that's what Renee does, is she gives them another chance, and she says that each dog has a good reason for being here, and they've got a purpose.
I have a husband and 2 small girls, and we came out here to get this delightful boy and couldn't be happier. We've started training with the skipper, and it's gone great. It shows that he's really a star.
Little lady came along.
And she adopted us.
And she adopted us. And this is Polly, our pit bull. I think it's a sad reality that people treat animals as badly as they treat each other. And I think that it's a testament to some of the remaining humanity that Renee's doing what she can do to help correct it or to take care of the animals that have been mistreated and abused.
In a word, how would I describe Renee Lancaster? Driven.
Charity.
Dedicated.
Giving.
Angel.
Dedicated.
Hopeful. And I think that she gets up every day knowing that something good is or will or has happened.
Compassionate.
One word's kind of hard to come up with one word, but she's great.
All of this is going to take a lot of funding. We've done a lot in the last year by getting this building put up, but now I need public support. I need private, public support, whatever we can get. It all comes down to cash.
What people can do to help, the financial need is one of the obvious things. You can see what needs to be done out here and the goals and the visions. If you're not an electrician, you know an electrician. Someone knows a plumber. Someone knows people with skilled labor that can donate their time. Time is huge, and skilled labor with things that need to be done, construction projects. Somebody either does that or knows somebody that does that. Spread the word, and we need that help here.
If you don't have time to volunteer, you can donate money. You can donate towels and blankets and things like that.
We can't get this vision completed and adopt more animals out and properly house the animals we have until we get some more funding to get this building set up for them. on my place, I walk out the door, I'm blessed to go take care of all these animals that need me, and I love what I do. So, you know, it keeps me going, know that I love what I do. Thank you.